Welcome back to Bayona's RC World, and in today's video we got the Master Series P38 by Flite test. Alright, this aircraft basically has been out for a while, but here in Bayona's RC World I want to go ahead and build this actual aircraft and add some scale detail to include a clear canopy that I had created. So I made this plug basically out of, I forget, poplar wood. Alright, I also made this vacuum form box. Alright, unfortunately I did not make a video on that. If you do want to see that, there's a few online on YouTube already, so just check it out. Just type in vacuum forming box. Alright, but anyhow, looking forward to the actual build. So sit back, relax, enjoy the video, and let's get on with the build. Alright, so we got the wing basically done. Now time to do the fuselage parts. I believe we're going to start on the actual canopy part. Alright, so we got the center fuse, right, and the battery box, some formers, and I believe this is also the bottom, or the canopy. So yeah, so we got these parts basically all laid out. Now it's time to just basically start forming and gluing, putting it all together. Alright, let's get back to the building. Guys, so we got the canopy that I pulled from the mold, or the plug, attached. Alright, so this is the plug. So all the canopy frames, basically I'm going to get that raised up here, so that when I do pull another one, you would see all this raised parts here in the canopy, where you could just go over, mask it out, give it a good paint job, and do plan on
making a insert for a cockpit. It's not going to be fully, in depth and all that stuff, but it's going to have a shape of the seat, the front dash and all, the instrument panel, and whatever else that is feasible to pull or to even carve out to make a plug. We're not going to be, so detailed as in gauges and all that stuff. I mean, yeah, it's only a fun scale thing, we're not trying to enter this into a competition or anything like that. So with that said, that is the plan. Now how that plan turns out is yet to be seen. So like I said, this is my first time I ever used a vacuum forming machine, and so yeah, trials and tribulations, get it done. Alright, so now we're going to be working on the rest of the parts for the booms. Alright, so we got the vertical stabilizer, we got basically the front, I believe this is the nacelle or engine bay, engine parts, and yeah, battery box, not battery box, but the power pods. Alright, so let's get back to work. got the electronics, well, pretty much the wires, the servos installed in the P38. So we got the ESCs right there. We got all the extensions and everything running through the booms. We got the servos connected, and all right. And then we got that extension right there. All right, so that part of the electronics done. We're gonna go right into doing the boom supports, or the stiffener that goes right smack down the middle. All right, and start getting the vertical and horizontal stabilizers attached. All right, let's get back to work. All right, guys. So for the tail section, I'm still using the wood pieces that came with the kit. However, I did add a piece of carbon fiber, which I just cut roughly, and right at the joint there, it goes from here to about right there. All right, and I'm gluing this in with Gorilla Glue. All right, and not hot glue. That way, here on the island, when humidity picks up or the heat, at least I know for a fact that this section here is not going to give as far as the hot glue loosening up. All right, so far I haven't had that issue any of my flight test planes, just with regular hot glue. And I'm here on the tropical island of the island of Guam, and none of my planes had ever folded or fell apart. Granted, I don't just leave it out in direct sunlight. It's always underneath shade. So it is what it is. So for this, is going to be the first time I'm actually using Gorilla Glue on any of my flight test builds, and I'm just going to give this a try. I did a test piece a few days ago. I did foam to foam, I did foam to paper, edge glued and all that stuff, and it held up pretty well. So with that said, that's what I got so far. And just by trying to bend it right at that joint, because you know this is all going to get glued into the boom, so that also adds structural support there. Worst case scenario is we can add a strip of basswood or ply underneath this whole rail, right? Or notch this out and put a piece of ply running that whole length as well, and that will also stiffen everything up, you know, if you're that much concerned about the tail falling apart. But I'm not gonna do that. I read a lot of you guys' comments and about trying to beef up the tail section, so that's as much beefing up I'm gonna do. All right, so with that said, I'm gonna go ahead and let that cure 24 hours, and we will get back to the rest of the plane. Go ahead and start carving out my plug for the interior set, and also taking care of the actual plug itself to get all this raised canopy framing done, so that when I do pull another Lexan piece on it, all this will be showing through the actual clear canopy, right? So all you have to do is just go over and paint it. But like this right now, this one is all clear, all smooth. However, it's still, this is still a good piece. You can just easily mask it and just paint the lines if you really wanted to, right? All right, so quick commentary, just explaining exactly what's going on. I was just gonna go ahead and leave this as a time-lapse thing, but it's best if I just explain. So I'm utilizing automotive body filler mixed with a hardener, and mixing it thoroughly before I apply it to the actual wooden plug. The wooden plug, I had covered the window areas
with 3 layers of this vinyl masking tape type deal, and then leaving the canopy frame that I want to build up exposed. By applying the body filler onto the plug over the actual masking tape so we can have a buildup before sanding it down to the first layer of tape. By sanding it down to the first layer, it exposes the tape, it exposes the frame, and it also provides a really clean edge so that you can pull the masking tape off without damaging your potential frame. And as you can see here, I'm pulling off the tape. In the video, it looks like I'm pulling it off fast, but this is time lapse, so I'm actually taking time pulling it off at a certain angle, slight angle, so that I have less chances of breaking the edges. So far, it's been pretty good. I was actually going to use like cardstock or balsa to build up the actual canopy frame, but to get it to conform around the canopy itself was going to be a challenge, and then you would actually have to cut it at a certain way. So by just doing it this way, I can just add on the body filler. As you can see here, I got some thinned areas, so I had to apply some body filler. So let's go ahead and try to pull this form.
Alright guys, so it looks like I need to over exaggerate the frame lines. Alright, so in other words, I gotta make it thicker. Alright, just so that the you can see it even better on the form. I don't know if you can see it. You can see a little bit of that outline of the frame. I guess if I paint it, it'll show up even more. But I'm thinking if I were to do maybe 4 to 5, maybe 4 layers of tape on this, and then put some more body filler on top of this one, and get the frame higher. And also, when I'm putting this on my table, I need to raise this higher as well, because it being that low, the bottom section of the canopy is not getting sucked down right here. It's kind of tapering off about midway and then going out, instead of going straight down and sucking in and wrapping. All right, so I need to kind of raise it up a little more, maybe more like that on the table, and it should be able to get it further down. We'll see. I ran out of Lexan, so I have to order some more. That was the first plug, first pull, and then this is the one with the body line, or the frame line. As you can see, kind of see the frame. I don't know if you can in the video, but I'm trying to get an angle. But yeah, it is what it is. More testing. All right, guys. So I basically used my old Lexan sheet that was already heated up. It had a whole bunch of moisture bubbles, so I just went ahead and used it just to go ahead and see if I'm able to pull a form utilizing the vacuum box with this plug, and this is the result. I was able to pull it. However, not too sure if it's because it was already a heated sheet of Lexan, but I had this crease right here. It went all the way down, and then I had another crease right here. As you can see, I kind of dremelled it out, cut it out. All right. But other than that, I will not know until I actually get the new sheets of Lexan in that I had ordered. Once I get those in, I will go ahead and pull this again and give it a try. But at least as of what I know now, it is doable. This whole thing is doable. Now it's just as far as that crease that was here and here. All right, so there it is, my interior piece for the P38 version 1. So we made the pilot figure. Hopefully when I pull it with Lexan on the vacuum forming box, I'm gonna glue this guy in there. I know that I'm gonna have to figure out how the Lexan is gonna be able to get sucked down in between here. I don't care if it has a little bridge, because we can easily just paint that black, kind of, you know. The main thing is just the basic outline, the basic look of the interior set with the pilot figure in there. Alright, so just like that, that's how he will look in there. So once I get more Lexan, I will go ahead and glue this guy in there, make a few holes, drill it all the way down through. That way the Lexan will have something to kind of cinch all that material down into him. So yeah, we'll see how that works out. It's all new. I never really did any plugs and stuff like vacuum forming box thing, so this is all new. I normally just do a plug like this and shove it in a 1 liter bottle and use the heat gun. But as you can see, I got a lot of holes there. It's also raised up like that, so on the vacuum forming box, all the middle holes can also go in through there and go in through the bottom section of this plug that goes into the front dash area, the panel. That way it can just suck everything down. Alright, so there is the interior plug together with the pilot figure that I just carved out. As you can see, there's a little gap underneath the pilot figure and the seat, and the reason for that is because on the bottom we got a few holes. I'm going to put a little bit more. That way the air from the vacuum forming box can go through all these little holes, through that, also sucking down the Lexan tight against his body, hopefully. We know that the front works, as you can see right there. So all these holes and then into the instrument panel front face area really grabs a hold of, sucks down that Lexan, and also you can see the bottom of the deck area. That's the reason why that big hole is there. All right, so yeah, it is what it is. I'm gonna just can't wait for the Lexan sheets to show up so I can go ahead and pull this and see if how it comes out. I'm excited. I really want to see how it comes out. So I went ahead and added a brace right back there. It's not really for a brace for the pilot or anything like that. It's really meant for the Lexan. So when I pull the Lexan, it has something to grab on up here instead of creasing and making that that joint crease right here and all the way up into the interior. So if anything, the P38 actually has like a bar right behind and running straight down from this back plate down to the back end. So this will basically simulate that. Not too worried about the Lexan just wrapping around this, coming straight down. That way I can go ahead and just paint the illusion, right? Give that illusion that there's a bar there, and everything else in the middle will be either clear, or I'll paint it green or black, you know, either or. All right, like I said, it's only for fun scale. It's not true scale, you know, so it is what it is. But other than that, first time I ever did a actual vacuum form box, so doing the plug, we have to think about how that Lexan is going to, or the material, the plastic, how is it going to conform to the part that you're trying to mold, right? So it's the reason why I got all these holes running through the piece in certain areas. So this holes right here in the front of the dash area goes underneath, right? Same as the bottom section, and it's ran on sitting on these blocks right here to raise it off of the vacuum form board right there. So once this thing is on the board, let's go take this out here. So once this is on the board, as you can see, we got a lot of air still that can circulate right here and suck down the parts even more. All right, and so when that plastic, the Lexan, actually starts covering and seals around the edges here, anywhere where there's air that's able to suck down, that Lexan's gonna follow. So in theory, well, at least it's shown on the first piece that I did, we know that the Lexan got sucked down into this cavity here. We know that it got pulled into the dash part and also the rear, so it basically formed this whole area really well. It is just the fact that it had a crease front and back. So hopefully adding this pilot figure will kind of eliminate that, and adding. All right, so last video, what I'm doing on the canopy now, plug, is adding 5 layers of tape this time around. The first time I only had 3 layers, and the detail wasn't all that great. Alright, so this time around I went ahead and added 5 layers of tape. I need to run to the store real quick and get some more tape because I ran out of this particular one. And yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and put that on. Then I'm gonna add some more body filler on that, on top of that. Go ahead and sand it all down and get that frame of the canopy a little thicker. That way it can show up more during the pulling process on the vacuum forming box. Yep. And also adjusting a little, because the original design I had there, I had to cut a little bit off on the bottom side here, so I ended up losing that bottom frame, so the outline. So I'm cutting it up here, add the frame a little thicker around this end, and that way it will also hide the outline as well here, which will be painted eventually. So yep, so that's what I'm doing, and Gonna go get some more tape later on today, finish this one off. Not too worried about it right now because still don't got Lexan, still waiting for it to show up in the mail. So that's about it, guys. So at the moment, P38 is just gonna sit like this. I did close up the front leading edge here. Front leading edges is all closed up. All right, so has that smooth look. Also, the back end is tapered. All right, the trailing edge is also tapered. All right, and I still gotta work and taper the edges here, and then I'm gonna go and redo, make the elevator better. All right, as far as getting all this sealed off. So I got the supercharger for the Master Series P38 build. Alright, so this is basically two of these of this 1/4-inch balsa sheets put together, or should I say 3. Alright, and then I just went ahead and formed it. We're gonna be relying on the top surface here. Alright, so once we pull this with the Lexan, alright, in a perfect world, this right here will be the top where you see this black outline. That's where the cut line will be, all the way around towards the back, and this will form the curvature of the boom right about here. Alright, and so with that, all we have to do is, when we pull this, we'll just cut that line, right? And that top, at least this edges here, will be the form of the boom, and then all this should get sucked down with the Lexan, right? Hopefully, in a perfect world, like I said. And we will hope that the details show. We will hope that I could get the Lexan to go down into these grooves and conform to all the shapes, and that way we can get a nice detailed supercharger. Right now, it's not, I don't actually have the supercharger form like the true scale where it comes down type deal. You know, it is what it is. It's for fun, and so that's all it is. And at least it's distinguishable. Once you see the aircraft, you know what it is. So it's not that far-fetched, right? So this is basically, like I said, like what it is. What I am going to do right now is just finish sanding this down. Well, as a matter of fact, I already did sand it down, but I'm going to add some rivets, or to simulate the bolts around the area right here. I made this a little too big, this piece right here, so technically there's supposed to be bolts going all the way around. Like I said, it is what it is, fun scale. So in my defense, I'm going to just go ahead and put maybe a few here and a few here, and maybe a few right about in this area, and that you know, just to give it detail. Hopefully it will show up as little bumps on the Lexan. And so yeah, so that's basically it, guys. Creation of the supercharger. All right, so unfortunately the mailman showed up. Lexan is not here, so oh well, another day. more plug. Well, that's actually two because you gotta do a left and a right. Doing one more plug basically, and that is just the little detail accent. This little fairing or whatever you want to call it right here on the wing. I'm not gonna go all the way underneath. It's just gonna go like about a quarter underneath the front leading edge, and it's just gonna come up right there and then taper off into the wing. How I am going to do that, I got layers of 1/4 inch light balsa, and I got it on here like so. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shape this portion to conform to the actual fuse, and then everything else is going to taper towards the leading edge and then have that swoop going all the way around. Alright, and then we're going to lay that on the vacuum forming board like so. I'm going to do a left and a right, and we're going to pull this as well. Alright, and that's going to basically finish up my P38 vacuum forming parts. Alright, and the Lexan sheets are here on island. I'm just waiting for USPS to make delivery, and I'm going to start pulling the 3 parts that I actually have at the moment, which is that. I still need to go get more tape, you know, so I can finish up the canopy and add some more body filler on there and get them lines raised up higher. Other than that, I'm very excited to pull the supercharger. I really want to see that supercharger and see if it really works on here. If not, then I cut this out for no reason. No, you know, even if I cut it out, I'll fix it. I'll figure it out. But other than that, that's what I'm doing right now. Last 2 pieces for my vacuum forming parts to tie up this whole Flite Test P38 build. So as you can see, the fairing right here, I still got to do a little fine tuning, but other than that, you could see that it's hugging the side of that fuse right now and kind of conforming also as well to the side here. I still need a little bit more, but it's getting there. All right, as you can see, I still need to kind of sweep this in just a tad bit, and from there I think it'll be good. I'm gonna modify it just a little bit more because I need the canopy to sit in here too, so I'm probably gonna run it and kind of cut it down a little lower, so it's not really gonna look exactly like that, but from a distance and just by looking at it, it'll look the part. So I pulled the supercharger. As you can see right here, it fits really nice once it's all glued down in there, all the way to the exhaust stack thing. I think it's gonna look good. However, I had a few creases right there and right back there, but we'll see. That's only test number 1. I went ahead and I pulled the superchargers, or the vacuum forming box with the Lexan, and this is basically what we got going on. Doesn't look like much at the moment because it's not painted. Alright, but once we get the paint scheme on here and the paint job basically, and then start weathering all these things, and get this thing to really pop out and give it that depth and all that stuff, it will do the part. All right. Now the cockpit having issues, major issues with this one. All right, so I pulled a few, and when I say a few, like 3. All right, I'm having issues with this crease right here. The Lexan is binding together in the middle, causing like a big crease right here in the center. And with that, I tried it where as you can see, I sealed the bottom. All right, I hollowed him out, poked some holes, drilled some holes through his body to see if it could suck all that Lexan back towards him. I don't see that it being an issue, because as you can see, I'm getting his body formed. It's right where that elephant trunk thing, the hose for the mask, it's coming down like that, and then it creases right there, and it continues all the way up towards the dash panel. As you can see right there in the dash panel, it's creased as well. So what I'm going to do here is I added this brace right smack in the middle. I also added some balsa stock there. I'm gonna go ahead, once the glue is dried, I'm gonna kind of sand that little flush, with the upper arm there, and hopefully that being higher now and something else for the Lexan to go into, hopefully it won't bunch up here. We will see. I do not know yet until I actually pull that, but I actually did 3 right here, and to be honest, I could still use this, and just cut that out and everything. Still can be used. However, the third one that I pulled, I went ahead and I painted it, sanded it down and everything. Alright, so as you can see, that's how it looks when it's painted. As you can see, the elephant trunk there, you see where that crease goes all the way down, all the way up to the dash panel. Alright, I tried sanding that, but if I cut that completely flush, the Lexan will split, and so I hot glued it. I sealed the bottom all the way around. I can go ahead and try now to sand that flush, but you know what, I'm just gonna call it, and I think it still will work. It's gonna be inside the canopy, and once I paint the pilot and put the details in, black in the bottom there, it's not gonna be that noticeable. We'll see. Alright guys, alright, so I went ahead and I masked up the windows, and this time I put I believe it was about 4 to 5 layers of tape. Went ahead and put some more body filler, cover up all the tape and everything, and then went ahead and sanded down to the first layer of tape. Not all the time it's gonna go to the first layer. I was eating into the second layer, but it don't matter. It's all gonna get sanded down one final time after we take off the tape here. And just by doing this, it's as you can see, our frame, canopy frame, is thicker now. So now it's going to show up even more on the detail when I pull this with the Lexan. Alright, so that's what I'm doing. So just pull off the tape nice and easy so you don't crack off the body filler that's there. That's the reason why you sand it down to the actual top of the tape and all the way to the edge and feather edge it off. Right, that way you can pull it off nice and cleanly, just like so. Because if you still have body filler over the tape, you might run the chance of when you're pulling off the tape, the body filler that's on the tape and also this case in point right here. All right, so you got a nice clean edge, sanded down, flush. We're just gonna go ahead and remove the layers of masking tape that's on here. All right, and just slowly pull it away, just like so. All right, and then we got a nice thick frame right there. They got this little piece right here. All right, so as you can see how thick it is, the line. Now we're just gonna go back in and just kind of clean everything up with a sandpaper. All right, but let me go ahead and take care of moving all the tape off camera, and we'll come right back. Alright guys, so this is the last vacuum form parts that I'm gonna have to do. As you can see, we got the right side basically all formed up, sanded. I also added some thin CA to soak up the wood to kind of stiffen things up because it's, you know, really thin, right? And the only way to get the proper fit is to actually get this piece to fit properly onto the aircraft. And then from there, we really only gonna be needing the exterior portion when we pull the mold or pull the form, right? So it's just gonna be what you see right now. This piece is gonna be made out of Lexan, right? Everything else underneath and all this is basically just dead space. And so I need to fill up all this cavity, and as you can see, there's a little curvature on that piece. And so if I were just to go directly like that on the vacuum forming table, it's gonna crack the balsa, right? And so I have to basically fill all this, kind of pack it around with either modeling clay or put it up on some blocks and carve it into the piece and have it raised up like so. All right, and that way when I pull it, basically all this, we're just really getting the exterior portion of the form. All right, yeah, so I gotta go ahead and do this part. You know, once I did one side, I don't feel like doing the other. Hopefully I can get it at least to look the same, but you know, it is what it is. All right, so we got the fairing here filled in with the body filler, automotive body filler. All right, so now this piece is ready to be vacuum formed without breaking the part, basically, because when I did form this fairing, it became very thin, just so that it can fit in the actual leading edge in the wing area. But now that I already got the shape and I know for a fact that it fits on the contour, the fuselage, the wing, the leading edge, etc., etc., now the final piece, and then we filled it in so that all the arcs and all that stuff, when the vacuum sucks down that Lexan, it is not going to crack this. So right now I can put a whole bunch of force down on this and it's not going to ruin the lip, it's not going to ruin anything on this part. All right, so there we go. And I'll go ahead and outline this so that you can also see what is actually being formed here. All right, so the outline that you see here is pretty much what the part is. All right, everything else pretty much in here is just a filler, just to keep this nice and strong. But where you see the outline, that is the part that will be vacuum forming or pulling off of this piece. All right, there you go. So that is the wing fairing. That's gonna go right on there. All right, I still need to do the left side. So you know, I've been working on the front end of here. I replaced this basically with balsa instead of the foam board. The only reason for that is because the foam board here was already all ate up already during the cutting process at the factory, I believe. So got a few crinkles and stuff like that, but I will be filling those in and sanding this thing down smooth so you will not see a wrinkle at all. Alrighty, there we go for now. So we got done with the wing fairings. Alright, so as you can see, I tried to get it as even as I could, you know, two different pieces that I'm carving out of wood or balsa. So, you know, it is what it is. Alright, so that is the wing fairing, and all we got to do now is just get it all painted. Alright, so as far as the vacuum form parts are concerned, it's for the first time ever using a vacuum forming box and pooling my own forms with the use of Lexan sheets. I would tell you I wasted more than I did make. So with that said, I could not do this to like sell it type deal, only because it took me a lot of tries just to get the parts formed properly without wrinkles, folds and all that other stuff. All right, so even with the interior, even with that said, I had to do a little bit of customizing after I had formed it, even with the crease on there. Alright guys, yesterday I went ahead and I installed the intakes here. As you can see, I kind of thinned out with the iron the exit hole instead of it being just a thick piece of foam board. Kind of tapered it off in the rear and also on the front, so you don't see that edge of the foam board, right? Kind of gives it that sleek look. All right, as you can see, all the way through. All right, just wanted to share that, guys. So I'm doing the guns at the moment, and I just wanted to kind of show you how I'm doing these guns. All right, so real quick, what I am doing is I got these solid pieces of carbon fiber rods. All right, they're just a tad bit bigger than the barbecue skewers. All right, and I cut them based on the 1 1/4 inch length, 4 of those, and 1 inch length. All right, so what I am going to do first is I am going to create the tip of the gun. And how I'm doing that is just basically using the drill here, and I'm just gonna spin the drill and use the sandpaper to basically sand this tip. Alright, and then I'm just going to go with a smoother sandpaper, and this is 220. Alright. And just like that, we are done with making the tip of the gun, as you can see. Alright, and then from here, what we're going to do is just use a drill bit. Alright, and the drill bit is on my Dremel right here, and this is a 1/16 inch drill bit, and I am just going to drill holes basically directly down all the way through. Alright, so I'm just going to start off with one. Get it all started, and then we're going to just drill it all the way through. Alright, I'm just making sure I'm going down straight too, because alright, just like so, and straight through. Alright, so we got our first one done. This is how crazy things are getting with this P38 build. As you can see, I'm doing little cutouts here. What I'm doing is I'm gluing some of these cutouts, these paper, on these gun port areas, and what that is going to do is kind of replicate that, the ring around the guns and that front plate type deal. All right. Got the rivets basically done. I did a combination of the sunken rivets type deal and then the raised ones, right? Because I didn't feel like poking a whole bunch of different holes in the whole length of the wing or on the horizontal stabilizer. And so for the most part, I got the holes basically. Now I know somebody's gonna say, why are you poking holes in the damn thing? That ain't rivets. Alright, it's to simulate it. Right, I'm not gonna use my brass tubing with my soldering iron and burn the holes in there or burn the little marks. I tried just pressing something onto there and it doesn't really show up much. So the closest thing is to basically just puncture the first layer of paper. That's about it. Alright, so from a distance you see it. Alright, and you got all the raised rivets. You're not gonna see it, it's not focusing. Dang phone. Anywho, so that's pretty much it for now. Wait for this to dry up. I still gotta paint the bottom, and then from there do the invasion stripes, and yeah, then I'm gonna figure out how I'm gonna do the nose art. So what I'm doing right now, I broke out the airbrush, and I I'm just going around and just lightly, well, it looks more like it's heavy, but just highlighting all the panel lines, the rivets, and kind of shading in some areas. This is just, I'm just going. There's no plan, just doing it. All right, now this area right here, I was trying to do something, yeah, and making it look like, you know, checkerboard thing, but it's because there's rivets there. But I'm gonna redo that. That's the reason why I didn't do the other side yet. But other than that, the canopy I think turned out pretty well. Gave little highlights there, and also the fillet, I think that turned out pretty good too. For all the parts that basically I vacuum formed to include the supercharger. Now this one right here, you can see we got a little fold, but you know what? I really don't care at this point. All right, it was more waste than it was actual part being pulled. So as you can see right over there, that's a lot of parts, a lot of Lexan that didn't go as planned. So I'll go with what I got. All right, anywho, so this is pretty much how it's looking right now. Tomorrow I will do the gray underneath, and then I will start doing the invasion stripes, stuff like that, throughout this, and then also the yellow. So I painted the spinners. All right, now the spinners that I got, I'm using a 3-bladed prop. All right, and this is the one that I got from the Flite Test store. Unfortunately, the first spinners that came in were crushed, you know, to the point where I couldn't even get it straight. So this is thanks to you guys again, Flite Test crew. Thank you again. They sent out another set, and so I just realized that I'm using a 3-bladed prop, and the spinners that I got is for 2-bladed. And so what I did was I took the old set, the crushed one, and I took the new set, made a template, and as you can see right there, I notched it, filled it, and then notched the other ends. So far it works pretty well, so I'm just gonna go ahead and use it. So we got the invasion stripes basically painted on. I still need to take care of adding the gray up in the nose, and then there's like a little blue nose I see in the photo. Let's go see if I can bring it up here. Yeah, in front of the nose there's a blue in color paint. So I will figure that part out, what color I can get as close to that. But yeah, this is pretty much what I'm going for. I may not really weather it that bad, but you know, yeah. So I still got to go ahead and you know, make the wing basically look like that, like it's been at war, it's been used and abused. All right, didn't come out of the factory type of deal. All right, so that's what I'm going to do, and then I still got to paint the yellow, and then we will do the nose art. I'm thinking I'll airbrush the nose art. I'm not too sure yet. It doesn't look that hard, but you know, just to get it to even come close to that, I think I can do it. Guys, so I got my airbrush somewhat working way better. I was able to go over all the splatter sprays that I did last night with the messed up airbrush, and I kind of made a little, I guess you could call it, make it stand out even more. I think I made it stand out way too much, but you know what, I really don't care, because I mean, you can see it there. Yeah, you can see the little highlights and all, and I overdid it. But you know what, it is just a foam board airplane, and it's all about fun, and that's all it is. So there you go. I went ahead and I also kind of gave it some character, as if you know, wear and tear, the metals are exposing through the paint on most parts. Still got to work on the nose art there, and then I have to also kind of make it look like that nose art is about the same age as the aircraft. A photo nose art, you know. But as long as it somewhat look the part, I mean, that doesn't look that bad. It's just a shading of the skin tone, the hair, the highlight, you know, the eyes. I'm not gonna get that detailed with the eyes, you know. And then the main thing is I forget what these things are called. Those guys, you know, forget what they're called. But yeah, I need to also figure out how I'm gonna do that, and you know, put it there as well, because I want it to look the part. I did this pieces here. I just need to put no step. I tried writing it out, and it doesn't look all that great. I mean, I did it with the C-47, but I tried doing it with this one and that's how it came out. So I don't know, I don't like it. It looks too big as well, so it is what it is, guys. Alright guys, you have a good one. I gotta go to the cemetery. Alright guys, so this morning I added some more detail to the aircraft to make it pop even more, to give it that character, to kind of give it that look as if the aircraft has been in service for years, right? Seen battle and all that stuff, right? We all know that I just built the plane, so it's just giving it look. All right, so as you can see, we got some metal showing through the paint, just sporadically all over the aircraft, mainly on the high areas, due to wind friction and all that, you know, throughout the years of flying. All right, realistically, I don't know if I put it all in the right areas, but who cares? It's all about having fun, and you know, it's what it is. I kind of went overboard with the highlights and stuff like that. I was just going crazy with it and just having fun. So like I said, it's all about fun. We're not here to, I'm not trying to make it look like an exact replica of the actual P38. You know, this is just my version of it based off of that drawing and my work put into it. All right, so still got to go ahead and do the nose art, and once I'm done with the nose art for both sides, figuring out how I'm gonna actually do it, if I'm just gonna hand paint it, do a stencil, airbrush it, you know, all that stuff, or make some transfer decals. This is what I got so far. Alright, so this is just one side. However, I got it stuck in my head what steps I got to do, what colors I have to mix, how many drops, and all that other stuff. So I got that down. Like I said, it's not gonna be a portrait, you know, it's not gonna be a piece that you were gonna hang up type deal, whatever. It's just for this aircraft. It's to give it that representation of the California cutie. All right, so you know, it's just all for fun, guys. But at the same time, just yeah, this is the original artwork. All right, as you can see, I'm trying to get all that, you know. But it is what, you know, it is what it is. The eyes and the mouth and all that stuff, I don't know if I'm really gonna capture it on this one. It is too small. But what I gotta do now is get that towel or that robe and get all that detail in there, because that really is the one that's gonna kind of separate everything, you know. And then put on some shoes on her, some sandals, and you know, I just gotta paint that in the bottom. But other than that, yeah, that's pretty much what I got. And then just kind of give her hair a little bit, some highlights and darker shades and stuff like that. But all in all, I would be satisfied with that. And then from there, we'll just airbrush California cutie here on both sides, and yeah, so this is what I got on this side, and this is what I got on that side. So So this is pretty much what I got. Alright, don't laugh. I know it looks funny. It doesn't look anything like that. But it will serve its purpose. It will work, you know. Plus, once I add the weathering over this whole nose art, it's gonna blend in with the rest of the weathering of the aircraft. So all the fine details is pretty much not gonna be really all that noticeable. I'm not gonna weather it so bad where you can't see the nose art, but right now it just looks too clean for a dirty airplane. Alright, so with that said, I'm gonna go ahead and continue working on this. As far as this side is concerned, I think I'm gonna call it. I'm good here, and I just gotta go ahead and finish up the other side. Guys, so we got the California Cutie, the Master Series P38 Lightning by Flite Test. All right, designed by John Overstreet. So yeah, I mean, I like how it looks from a distance. It looks the part. I also kind of threw in a little shadow, kind of darken it up a little, so it doesn't look like it's fresh paint that just put on there. All right, it kind of blends in with the whole entire theme of this aircraft. All right, and so yeah, now all this, all right guys, I couldn't really get the detail in there. I tried hand cutting it to include the missiles, the bombs here, the umbrellas and all that stuff. I couldn't do it. It is too small. I even tried to put it on the cry cut machine, but to clean it all up was a task in itself. I was spending I wasted a whole hour just trying to clean it up to the point where it wasn't even worth it. So I just freehand cut it. It doesn't even have any really, actual shape. It doesn't have the umbrellas, the actual, handle, the train on the top. Doesn't even look like a train. It's just blocks. So pretty much just blocks. All right. From a distance, it does justice to it. It basically looks the part. Kind of close up, it's just a bunch of jargon. All right. It is what it is. All right.
Alright guys, if you are still here and you've been watching from the beginning, I appreciate you. We made it to the end. Sorry that the video was long, drawn out. Alright, over an hour and 28 minutes. This was an actual 2.5 hour video that I had edited down to the most important parts that I think or I thought will be important to you. But if not, leave it in the comments and let me know what you didn't like about the video or what you liked about it. The whole point was just to showcase the additional stuff that I have done to the Flite Test Master Series P38. This is not a build tutorial on how to build the Master Series P38. If you want to see that, check out John Overstreet's build video of the P38 on the Flite Test YouTube channel. This one here was just my journey to show you the vacuum form parts that I created for this particular aircraft, and just kind of talking about it and stuff and what I was going through. I have fun. The vacuum forming parts was fun yet frustrating at the same time. The first time I ever done it. It was fun. That's all I can say. So I hope you enjoyed your time. Looking forward to the next video. Once the retracts arrive, I will go ahead and do another video for that installation and the maiden flight. So looking forward to the next video. See you again, and hey, continue building and have fun. All right guys, you have a good one. Shoo-shoo!